Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. Hope you people are doing well at home and are safe. Dear students, today we are going to read our Gulliver's Travel, as we have already covered its few chapters. Today we are going to go through chapter number 3, 4 and 5, which will cover our page number 14 to page number 34. So I want you to take out your books and quickly turn to page number 14. I hope you are ready now. Okay, our third chapter is Journey to the City, and this is our book. Okay, let's begin our chapter. Journey to the City. Okay, first we have the Emperor's plan. Now as he was lying down on the grass, many people came to look at him. Ropes from one side were loosened, so he was able to take side. Few soldiers rubbed oil on his face, and this gave him relief from the pain. Do you know why he was in the pain? Yes, he was in the pain because arrows were shot at him, and he was given wine to drink, which made him sleep for 8 hours. Do you know, kids, why he slept for 8 hours? Because there was a medicine in the wine, which made him sleep. At the beginning he wasn't able to understand their language, but slowly he was able to understand it, and then he came to know that their king was the emperor, and it was all his plan how they are going to handle him. Then we have the moving platform. Do you know, kids, people on that strange land were very clever at mathematics, and they were good engineers. They were experts in making machines, and they used their machine to carry heavy ships to the sea. They used to build their ships in the forest because it was easy for them to cut the woods and make the ships. And then they used the machines with the wheels to carry those ships to the sea. And when he was lying there asleep, Gulliver, on the shore, they bought the biggest platform, which was about 7 feet long, and they all shifted him to that platform and took him to the city. And while he was sleeping, all the soldiers were working to shift him to the platform. Okay, next we have I'm taken to the capital city. Okay, kid, what happens next is that the workmen fastened strong ropes around Gulliver's body, and 900 of Emperor's strongest men pulled those ropes around the wheel, which was actually the pulley. And they pulled for 3 hours and lifted Gulliver off the ground, and then they slowly shifted the platform under the Gulliver. And then the Gulliver was very gently put on that platform. Then 1,500 horses were bought to pull that platform to the capital city. While they were on their way, something went wrong with the platform, and they stopped and they tried to mend that platform while Gulliver was sleeping. Then some soldiers, they tried to wake the Gulliver in a very strange way. What they did, that they climbed on his face, and one soldier put his spear in his nose, and when this happened, Gulliver sneezed, and then he woke up. Okay, next we have the platform is mended. Okay, kids, when Gulliver sneezed, the soldiers who were on him, they were really afraid, and the rest of the soldiers and the rest of the people around him thought it was really funny, and they laughed. Okay, when the platform was mended, then they started their journey again, and through all that day the horses were pulling the platform, and Gulliver was tied on that platform, and they were headed towards their capital city. And when the night came, they all stopped, and all the soldiers were asleep. Only 500 soldiers were standing around him. Half of them were holding torches so they can see Gulliver well, and half of them were ready to shoot arrows at him, because they were all afraid of Gulliver and they thought that he might be dangerous for them. And when the next morning they were ready to move again, then the horses started to pull the platform again towards the capital city, and this time the Gulliver was away. And when they reached the city, they stopped about 200 yards away from the city's main gate. Next we have my new house. Okay kids, while they were waiting outside the main gate of the city, the emperor came with his followers to see Gulliver, and emperor wanted to talk to Gulliver, but his noblemen did not allow him to climb on Gulliver because they thought it was really dangerous to climb on him. So there was a narrow tall building on one side of the road, and emperor and his followers climbed up on that building to look at him. And there were 100,000 men who came from the city to see Gulliver, and during all day there were thousands of men who climbed on Gulliver's body to look at him, and soldiers stopped them, but there were too many people and soldiers were less, so it was difficult for the soldiers to stop people. Then emperor gave the order to his soldiers to kill those people who would not obey and climb on Gulliver's body. So there was an old temple close by, opposite to the tall narrow building, and it was very large building, and it was the largest building in their kingdom. And it used to be their temple, but once there was a cruel killing in that temple, so people stopped worshipping there, and even they took out all the pictures and the tables and chairs away from that temple. So the temple was very large and empty, and no one used to stay there, no one used to go there. So it was given to Gulliver to stay there. It was quite large and it was quite wide, and they thought it would be very easy for Gulliver to enter in and come out of that building. Next is my house is my prison. Okay, that temple had wide door and there were small windows on each side. So what did the workmen did? They put the chains through one of the window, brought that chain back through the door, and they locked both ends of each chain on his leg. The workman made sure that he was not able to break that chain. So Gulliver was now able to sit, and all the people shouted when he sat down, as they already knew that he was quite tall, but they were surprised. And then he stood up and they shouted even louder. Okay, the chains were about 6 feet long and they were fastened to his left leg, and he was able to move a half of the circle. Gulliver was happy because he was able to sit and move, because he was tied to the ground for almost 2 days, and his legs and his body felt stiff, and it was now easy for him to sit down or stand up. Gulliver was quite pleased with these people because he thought that they were really kind, and it was normal for these people to feel danger in the beginning because he was tall, and that's why they shot arrows at him. And afterwards, when these people felt that he is not hurting them, so they massaged oil on him so he may not feel pain anymore, and they gave him wine to drink, and they gave him the building to stay in. So Gulliver thought that these people were really kind. Okay, that's the end of our 3rd chapter. Let's begin our new chapter, which is 4th chapter, The Emperor of Lilliput. This is the first page of the 4th chapter, which is page number 21. The Emperor of Lilliput. The Emperor comes closer. Okay, kids, as we already know, now Gulliver is tied with the temple's gate and window, and it's chained with the left leg. So he cannot move further, but he was able to stand up. So he stood up and looked at the town, and the town was so beautiful with flower gardens and fields that it seemed that he was looking at a painted picture. The emperor was looking at him from his tall building, so he came down and rode on his horse, and when the horse came closer to the Gulliver, the horse was frightened and it jumped on its back legs. The emperor was a very good rider. He didn't fall down, though his soldiers came and helped him. So emperor walked towards Gulliver, and then he walked around him, but kept a safe distance. Then he ordered some food for Gulliver. Okay, then next we have Emperor and his family. Okay, now in this we are going to discuss about Emperor and his family. So Emperor had a wife, Empress, and they had children, princes and princesses, and they were sitting on a chair in a safe distance away from Gulliver. And as Emperor was riding on the horse, he comes down on the ground. His family moved closer to him, and Emperor was taller than any of his noblemen, and he seemed to be quite strong and brave. When Emperor was 28 years old, and he's been ruling his country for 7 years, and people thought that they really lived happily and well during his rule. When Gulliver wanted to see the emperor closer, he used to lay flat, and he noticed that the emperor wore very plain and simple clothes, and they looked half Asian and half European. And he was wearing a gold helmet with beautiful bird feathers on it, and he were holding a sword in his hand to fight Gulliver if he breaks his chain. And they were his family were wearing very valuable gold things, and the emperor followers and all the ladies wore rich and beautiful clothes. Okay, then next we have language problems. Now, as the emperor stood closer to Gulliver, he tries to talk to him, but although he was very loud and clear, but his language was not understood by Gulliver, and Gulliver also tried to talk to him, but he spoke Dutch, Spanish, French, Latin or Italian, but they were not able to understand each other, and this was the reason they were not able to communicate. Then many people were there to see Gulliver, and the soldiers were there to stop people annoy Gulliver. And then we have next is a kind deed. As the people were annoying Gulliver, so officer told the soldiers to catch 6 men who've been annoying Gulliver. So they caught 6 men and tied their hands at the back, and those 6 men were brought to the Gulliver for the punishment. So Gulliver put 5 of them in his pocket, and he held one and took out the knife, and everyone was afraid that maybe Gulliver is going to cut that man into pieces. But surprisingly, Gulliver just cut his ropes and he let him free. So everyone was happy, and everyone knew that Gulliver was a nice man and he is not going to hurt them. So he then went into his temple to sleep, and he was not comfortable there. So then after few weeks, 2 weeks, the people made a bed for him to sleep. Now next is the emperor's advisors. As the news about Gulliver spread all over the land, so people were coming to see him. So there was a problem that many people were leaving their homes. The farmers were leaving their farms, and they were not looking after the crops, and they were just coming to see Gulliver. So there was a problem arising that who will look after the farms, as people are leaving everything and they're coming to see Gulliver. So the emperor ordered that whoever wished to see Gulliver, they're going to pay. At the same time, the emperor asked his advisors to advise him. And do you know what they said? They said that if Gulliver will break his chains, he will be very dangerous for us. And the second thing is, he was eating a lot of their food, and soon they will be out of their food. So it was advised that he should be killed. But then there was again a problem, that if they will kill Gulliver, how they are going to bury their body, because it will be very difficult to dig that much big hole to bury him. So if they'll keep the dead body on the land, so and it will be difficult for them again, because his body will smell a lot and can make the people ill. The emperor decides, I'm not dangerous. Okay, now as they were all talking and deciding what to do with the Gulliver, a nobleman of the emperor told him about the kindness that he did with the 6 people, that they were annoying Gulliver, and he did not punish him. Instead, he sent them free. So emperor was very happy. So the emperor decided that Gulliver was not dangerous for them. So what he did, he ordered the people of the village to bring him food. So every morning people bought 6 cows, 40 sheep, bread and wine, and other necessary things for Gulliver to eat. Later, villagers were paid for the food they bought for Gulliver. And Gulliver were also given 600 servants, and they lived near him in small huts. And 300 tailors made clothes for him, and the clothes were exactly the same way, the same style as the villagers were wearing. And 6 of the greatest teachers taught him their language. So every morning, emperor and his noblemen were riding towards Gulliver, so the horses may get used to Gulliver and they may not get frightened. The last one is, I study the language. Okay, now he was continuously working on learning the language, and soon after some time he came to know the name of that country is Lilliput, and the capital city where he was staying was Milando. Now emperor often used to visit him, and he was seeing how the Gulliver is learning, and sometimes the emperor used to teach himself. Then after some time, Gulliver learned some words, like he's learned how to say please set me free, and every day he used to say that to the emperor, and the emperor used to say that he cannot allow him and he cannot set him free until he promises not to make war in his country. And the emperor told Gulliver that they will take good care of Gulliver, and he told him that he hoped that Gulliver will become a good friend. And then Gulliver began to think that he is going to stay their prisoner for the rest of his life. Okay, now this is the end of our 4th chapter. Let's move on to our next chapter, which is Inside Gulliver's Pocket. It's chapter number 5, page number 27, and this is the front page of your chapter 5. Okay, let's begin now. Okay. Inside Gulliver's pocket, two officers looked through my pockets. Okay, one day Emperor wanted his officers to look through his pockets because he thought Gulliver may be carrying something dangerous. So he told Gulliver that his two officers will be looking through his pockets and he should help them because it will be difficult for them to do this thing alone. And then Gulliver helped the officers, and but there was one secret pocket. He wanted to keep it a secret until the officers find that pocket themselves. And the two men were making a list whatever they were finding in Gulliver's pocket. Okay, the next we have the things found in my pocket. Okay, now soldiers were discovering his pockets and they were writing everything down, and they named Gulliver as Great Man Mountain. And the very first thing they found on his pocket was a large piece of cloth, and they said it must be his handkerchief. The second thing they found on his left pocket was a large box with some dust in it, and actually it was a tobacco. And in another pocket they found some sheets, some paper sheets with some writing on it, and they thought it must be the Man Mountain's writing, and the words were as big as their palm. And then they found a machine. Actually it was a comb, and they referred to it as Emperor's railing round his garden, and it was actually a comb. And next thing they found in his pocket of trousers pocket was the guns. There were two guns, and they did not know what is this machine used for, as they explained it as a long piece of iron with a hole going all the way through it. So it was actually his guns. Okay, let's move on. Then the next is my knives, watch and money. Okay kids, as the soldiers were looking through his pocket and they were not aware what kind of things he was carrying, so they had a very different perspective to see them. But actually there were some silver and copper coins they found in his pocket, and there were his knife and razor. And then they explained the watch in a very strange way. The machine, they said that the machine looked like a flat ball, half of it's made from silver and other half made of a strange metal that looks like water. Actually they were referring it to the glass, and it was actually the watch he was carrying. And then they found a bag which was filled of some coins, and it was his gold coins. Okay, then next is my sword, gunpowder and bullets. Okay, then the soldiers said that they were able to find another bag hanging from the belt, and it was actually divided into parts, and each part was holding some balls in it, and the balls were as large as a soldier's head, and actually it was a bullet, and the other portion was carrying the gunpowder. So Gulliver totally helped the soldiers to look through his pockets, and soldiers were very delighted. And he told Emperor he did so because he knew that they were officers of the Emperor. Now next we have the Emperor shows interest. As the soldiers were reading this list to the emperor was interested, and he asked the Gulliver to take out the sword from its cover. When he took out, the people were really frightened at it. It was shining in the sun, and sea water was not able to damage the sword. The next thing was the gun they saw, and Emperor wanted Gulliver to explain it. He tried his best to explain, but they were not able to understand it because there was nothing in their country as a gun. So he put the gunpowder in the gun, but he did not put the bullets, and he shot the gun towards the sky, and people were really afraid, and few people fell down on the ground as they were really afraid, and the emperor was afraid too. And he then handed over his gunpowder and gun to them, and he asked them not to put gunpowder in any place which may be uh, cause danger to them. Then next we have the emperor looks at my watch. Now emperor was interested in his watch, and he was really surprised to see something new because it was something he had never seen. And he asked his soldiers to bring it near to him, and he was really delighted to see that it continuously made noise, and the minute hand was continuously moving. And Gulliver handed him his silver and copper coins, and his knife, his razor, comb, snuff box, handkerchief, and his letters too. And the gunpowder and the guns were also handed to him, and was taken to his storehouse. And the secret pocket, he did not allow the soldiers, and he even didn't told them his secret pocket, because there were two things which was really precious to him. One thing was his spectacles, and the second was his telescope. Okay, next we have the strange black animal. Okay, while the things were handed over to the emperor, a few men came to the emperor and told him that there was something very strange on the seashore, and it was quite close to the place where they found Gulliver. And that thing was large and black, and it covered the space as big as the emperor's bedroom, and it rose up in the middle. And they were really afraid to find that thing, and they thought that it was really dangerous, or it may be a dangerous animal. But do you know, kids, what was it? It was actually Gulliver's hat. And then they also asked the emperor to give them some horses so they can pull that thing here to show the emperor what was it. Okay, I hope, kids, you must have enjoyed your three chapters, and that was all for today. Goodbye and have a nice day. Allah Hafiz.